Toma uno. Papá.
Hey, 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 hey. Hey, hey. Ahora sí, linda, bonito. La preciosa, ¿eh? No, 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 no. Vamos a boxear, boxea, boxea, boxea. Bo, 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 bo.
Hello, my name is Rodrigo Reyes, and I'm the director of a film called Sansón and Me. And this film begins with a very special encounter between two Mexican men that happened in a courtroom in California 10 years ago, where I was working as an interpreter. I was one of those two men. The other was my friend Sanson, who was accused of a first degree murder. And I helped him during his murder trial for 3 weeks. And what's really remarkable about this encounter is that I sat next to him, like a foot away from his ear, speaking, you know, throughout the trial so he could understand what the court was saying. And I felt this huge connection to him as a fellow countryman and as a young man who was 19 years old and who was facing this incredibly overwhelming situation where he could be sentenced to life without parole if he was found guilty. So I spent 3 weeks with him, and at the end of that process, he was in fact found guilty and he was sentenced. And I was left with this giant abyss, wondering who was he as a human, not as a person driving a car for 1 minute, 1 day, but as a human being. What led to this young, undocumented migrant to be in that situation? So I started writing to him after he was sent to prison, and slowly over the years, we became friends and we exchanged hundreds and hundreds of letters.
Señor Reyes, fíjese que ya me puse a hacer la tarea que usted me pidió. Esa de escribir mi vida desde un principio. No es fácil ponerse a recordar. Usted y yo venimos de mundos diferentes. Lo que le voy a contar es bien duro. Es muy diferente a la vida que usted conoce. Hace mucho tiempo que no hablaba de esto con nadie. Aquí casi ni hablo, y menos de mi historia.
And in these letters, I discovered a wonderful young man with a very poetic point of view, with a very wonderful way of speaking about his life. And I wrestled with, how do I make this into a film? There's no archive. He's not a famous criminal. The prison won't let me interview him because they see it as a reward for him to talk about his life. And so after a long time and a long struggle, I realized, wait a minute, you have all these letters. And in the meantime, I've been going to see his family in Mexico, who of course can't visit him. And so with these letters, we started to build a script of Sanson's memories. And those memories are represented by his family, who both of us invited to collaborate in this film. And I think that's what makes this work so unique, because you're entering the memories of a young man, and you're also entering our friendship, and you're watching these memories be constructed, and you're watching the act of remembering, and you're seeing how it opens up a lot of wounds, but it also creates a lot of healing and a lot of empowerment. And it gives us a sense of the deep unfairness of a system that has confused punishment with justice.
Discúlpeme que le haga esta pregunta, pero ¿por qué está usted interesado en hacer pues esta película?
Eh, pues es buena pregunta. O sea, yo la verdad que lo único que te puedo decir es que fuiste mi primer caso como intérprete. O sea, fuiste el primer homicidio que yo hice como intérprete y estuve así a tu lado 3 semanas y trabajando juntos, pero jamás te conocí. O sea, yo no te pude conocer como persona.
For me, the choice of using these recreations and the use of these reimaginings of Sanson's memories, me being in the film as an actor, working with an actor that plays Sanson, and just trying to bring us as close as possible to the experience of being in this friendship the whole point of that was to play by different rules, to not follow the limitations of the prisons that are erasing the voices of so many young men, especially immigrant young men. They're erased. They don't have a voice. They don't. Their story doesn't get told. And this is our job as artists. We are supposed to find ways to touch into deeper ideas that we're not seeing in the world. I think in the US, we have to really consider what's the difference between punishment and justice. I think we have confused the two, and we have forgotten that the courts are not the place where you resolve social issues. The courts are places where we clean up a mess that has happened. And I think all of us need to really ask if we are really doing enough in our own communities to stop violence and to really care for every child in our community. And I think for audiences in the UK, the film is a great experience of the reality of thousands of young men who are trying to chase their dreams in this world. Immigration in the UK is also very real. And there's a story behind every migrant. There's a story behind every kid that's trying to make something happen. And so Sanson is a very universal character. We can find him anywhere, And I hope that if you watch the film, especially in theaters, that you'll fall in love with him, and that you'll be connected, and you'll want to just find the other Sansons in your own world.